Hey there, and welcome to this special episode I call Monthly Medicine. This is where we explore essential oils and their benefits for our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, because that's part of living in sync with nature. And by the way, if we haven't met, I'm Jenny Holbert, and I'm the founder of Wild Wellness, a fitness specialist and natural health advocate. I've been working with essential oils personally for over a decade, and I'm here to share these gifts of the earth with you. I think it's absolutely amazing that nature offers aromatic essential oils through the plant's leaves, flowers, resin, or roots. Did you know that the compounds found in essential oils offer the plant benefits for its own survival? I feel like we get to borrow that built-in immune system when we use essential oils. It's so holistic, and it really also allows us to opt for nature instead of synthetic products with negative side effects and potential toxins. Now, one thing to note. Unfortunately, honesty and integrity aren't always the norm in the essential oil industry, and it's actually estimated that 85% of the essential oils on the market are adulterated. So, in other words, there could be fillers or synthetic constituents that don't give you the same results, even if the oil smells good. Plus, essential oils that are labeled natural or organic doesn't necessarily mean they're pure or tested to have optimal levels of the potent chemical constituents that are found in essential oils. It also doesn't ensure that they're free of fillers or contaminants either. So just like you can get food out of your garden or buy it in a package, the quality and the benefits are going to be different, right? Now, I've chosen to align with doTERRA essential oils as a conscious consumer and as a wellness advocate because of the purity and quality of the essential oils, as well as the philanthropy of the company. doTERRA is actually much more than an essential oil company. Everything they do is about empowering people on both sides of the bottle. They're recognized as the global leader in essential oil sourcing, testing, and distributing because their quality standards include rigorous testing to ensure potency for the desired therapeutic qualities that you would expect the essential oil to have, as well as third-party testing guaranteeing absence of chemicals, contaminants, and microorganisms. As far as sourcing goes, doTERRA sources plants from where they grow best. Sometimes that's the indigenous region. It's where their chemistry is optimal and also where they can have the best impact. They're looking to have the most positive environmental impact for sustainability practices. So every time you buy a bottle of doTERRA essential oil, you're supporting every single person involved in the supply chain because of that commitment to sustainable, fair sourcing and the partnerships that they have, which eliminate the brokers, the middlemen, because oftentimes in the essential oil industry, that is where the growers get taken advantage of. They're not paid fairly or on time. So the commitment that doTERRA has is very different, which makes it possible for the growers to provide for their families, send their children to school, buy land, and partner with a company that has their best interest in mind. So I love that. And I could go on, but let's explore the essential oils, shall we? A few notes on safe uses of essential oils. Always read the label to determine safe uses for aromatic, topical, or internal applications. Keep out of reach of children. To avoid skin sensitivity, dilute essential oils with a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil or another vegetable oil. And avoid contact with eyes, inner ears, and sensitive areas. One more thing. The information I share is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This is for your self-study and exploration only. Sound good? Frankincense and Vetiver essential oils are the monthly medicine for December because of their calming and grounding properties. And I'll talk about why I chose these essential oils in relationship to the Vata dosha and how we can use them to support our bodies during the late fall, early winter season to counterbalance excess Vata energy. So if you're not familiar with Vata, this is an Ayurvedic dosha that governs body functions associated with motion, like blood circulation and breathing, so moving air. And Vata characteristics are actually the same qualities that air has, the element of air. So dry, light, cool, subtle, mobile, things like that. And throughout the year, each of the 3 doshas in Ayurveda are more present in our environment according to the seasons. So in addition to Vata, the other 2 doshas are Pitta and Kapha. We're just talking about Vata. But these 3 doshas are more present in our environment in different seasons. But rather than it being winter, spring, summer, and fall, Ayurveda divides the year into 3 seasons. So Vata season goes from late fall into early winter. And there's also Kapha season from the darkest, coldest part of winter into spring, and Pitta season, which is the hottest time of the year, from late spring to early fall. So if you're listening to this in the transition from fall to winter, the Vata characteristics are typically dry, cold, windy, rough, light, sort of erratic. Again, qualities associated with the air element. And this means that there's an excess of Vata energy at the moment that can easily lead to a Vata imbalance. And in our bodies, that can look like dry skin, constipation, insomnia, generally feeling kind of mentally spacey, and just to name a few things, those are some of the common things you might see. And one of the driving principles, or one of the main ideas in Ayurvedic medicine, is that like increases like, and opposites bring balance. So if it's cold out and we're eating cold, dry, raw salads or smoothies, and then we're going outside without any gloves or hats and it's freezing out, and basically we're creating more cold, dry qualities in our own bodies, then that can be where we can get out of balance, and that Vata can become imbalanced to the point that maybe it dominates our constitution and we experience symptoms of a Vata imbalance during that season. So it's during this late fall, early winter Vata season that we sort of naturally begin to do things that mitigate the excess Vata. If you think about it, like firing up the crock pot, baking more, eating more cooked foods, casseroles, soups, stews, things that are warming and maybe even grounding, like eating root vegetables. I just have been getting those out of the garden that time of year. So those things counterbalance the dry, cold, and light qualities of Vata. So also, according to Ayurvedic principles, it's actually the best time of year to eat animal protein, high-quality oils like olive oil, and cooking with herbs like turmeric or turmeric powder, which is anti-inflammatory and supports the immune system as well. And also think of drinking more herbal teas like ginger and cardamom to support the lungs and also the immune system, because they do that while also warming the body. So again, that's another way to counterbalance the excess Vata. And if you did listen to one of the past monthly medicine episodes, I believe it was the one I did in October, I actually talked about cardamom essential oil in that episode. And so if you want to learn some ways to use that essential oil, one of the ways I just mentioned is using it as a tea, but there's some other ways you can use it to support your lungs and immune system. And also, speaking of immunity, the last monthly medicine episode in November was on black spruce and litsea, which are 2 really powerful oils for immune and respiratory support as well. So let's talk a little bit more about some things you might notice with Vata season imbalances, and then we'll go into how you can balance it, and specifically how the essential oils that I chose to talk about, frankincense and vetiver, how you can use those and why they're so powerful during this season. So if you experience insomnia, joint aches, constipation, things like that are going to, if you think about it, it's like constrictive or a lack of circulation, a lack of movement. Those are Vata season imbalances. And also emotionally, like having trouble focusing or having nervous thoughts that lead to anxiety or feeling indecisive. And also physically on the surface, like seeing itchy, flaky, dry skin and things like that are definitely more Vata. And this time of year actually you might have certain things going on that actually evoke more of this Vata energy. So experiences of loss and also times of movement and stimulation. So think of travel or deadlines or big moves, changes, that can all increase Vata. So if you are experiencing some of those things and you feel like it would be good to support the Vata energy, and as I said, like increases like and opposites bring balance, and you want to bring in a little bit of the opposite of that, then balancing Vata is about soothing and restoring calm. It's about a very grounding energy and calming energy, like I mentioned in the beginning with the frankincense and the vetiver. But some other practices and things that you can think about for your daily routines and just how you live is your sleep. Getting to bed before 10 p.m. is really helpful because of the way your body restores during those hours. And just establishing a regular daily routine, like going to bed at consistent times, getting up at consistent times, and having that regular routine throughout your day can be helpful if possible because, again, Vata is sort of this bouncy air quality that can be all over the place. So if you have a regular daily routine, it's more grounding. And like I said, warm beverages, foods that are warm, cooking with healthy fats, things like that are maybe things that you're naturally drawn to this time of year anyway, but if not, then incorporating those in can be helpful for counterbalancing with Vata. And avoiding alcohol, caffeinated beverages, and chocolate. And, it doesn't mean that you don't have those things ever, but maybe just notice how they make you feel and notice if maybe your body is experiencing a little bit too much of the effects of those things. And also avoiding raw vegetables. Like I said, food should be warm, cooking them a little bit and experiencing more of that warming sensation in your digestive processes is helpful, as well as practicing meditation. That can be really grounding, and we'll talk about how you can use frankincense and vetiver in that practice and in your yoga practice. And of course, as I said, the essential oils. So there's many essential oils that you could use actually to address the mental, emotional, and physical aspects of Vata imbalance. But the thing is, you want to focus on essential oils that you would think of as sweet or warming. So lavender, vetiver, cedarwood, sandalwood, patchouli, frankincense. Those are all soothing and grounding. Ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, those are more spicy and warming. Things like that are going to be helpful. And these plant extracts can be extremely helpful for calming the sympathetic nervous system that we commonly refer to as fight or flight. This is going to be a good counterbalance to that. So think of the calming oils. It doesn't have to be vetiver or frankincense, but think of the other favorites you might have, like lavender, cedarwood, sandalwood, patchouli, and also the warming oils, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, things like that. Now, doTERRA has a personal fragrance blend that they created for a limited time called Quintana, and I wanted to mention that as well because I was thinking about that blend, and it has bergamot, ylang-ylang, gardenia, sandalwood, vetiver, patchouli, and clove. Now, most of the oils that I just named there, besides the clove, are definitely more grounding and calming. Those are more of the soothing nature that I was talking about. And then you have clove, which is warming. So I feel like this is the perfect blend for balancing the Vata dosha and something to use during this late fall, early winter season. So beautiful. I can't wait to experience it myself, the doTERRA Quintana blend. It just sounds amazing with those essential oils in it. And this is a blend that you can spray on your pulse points, so your wrists, your elbows, neck,
things like that. And you could also spray it on your body right after taking a shower. That would be a nice way to use it. The moisture on your skin will help to absorb that aroma, and you'll be getting the topical benefits of it as well as getting that absorbed into your bloodstream. So that's how I'm going to try it. And I just wanted to mention the doTERRA Quintana blend, since it seems to be really ideal with some of the oils I mentioned. Now, we are going to focus on vetiver and frankincense. Now, vetiver, I did mention, is in that Quintana blend, but we'll talk about frankincense too. And these are two really important essential oils that can help pacify Vata, and you can really use them in 3 ways. As I mentioned at the beginning, aromatic, topical, and internal applications are all possible, but this is a good way to think of these essential oils. It's great to use them when they're mixed with a base of rich fatty carrier oil if you're going to apply them to the skin. So think of avocado, sesame, olive oil, or even coconut oil would be okay, but that's maybe sometimes even more of a cooling oil. So think of those warming oils that you can mix topically when you are using them. If you do need to go back and listen to the aromatic, topical, internal applications at the beginning, you can always do that. So let's talk about frankincense first. Frankincense from doTERRA's sourcing is the resin from the Boswellia carteri, sacra, papyrifera, and freriana species. Now, I might be pronouncing those a little off, but those are 4 different Boswellia species. And it's really interesting that they come from 4 species because you get a variety of constituents through that sourcing. And also, it's a great way to ensure sustainability of the Boswellia trees and where they are sourced, because that can be that is known as an issue in the industry. So it's really important to do that in a sustainable way, which doTERRA has great practices in place for, and also just because of the 4 species and getting a variety. I think that's so important in biodiversity when we use essential oils. So the main constituents of frankincense are alpha-pinene, limonene, and alpha-theugene. So these I will talk about in just a moment and sort of where you would see the different benefits of these. But historically, this frankincense essential oil is, of course, noted in the New Testament, but also the Babylonians and Assyrians would burn frankincense in religious ceremonies, and the Egyptians used frankincense resin for everything from perfume to salves, to soothing the skin, to embalming, and so many different historical uses. This is one of the most prized and precious essential oils. As far as benefits of frankincense, you can ingest it to support healthy cell function. This would be taking a drop under your tongue or putting it in a capsule. You could even add it to water. Just be sure that you're using a quality of frankincense that can be ingested, like doTERRA's. And you could also use it aromatically, so put it in the diffuser to create a really grounding, soothing experience for your nervous system. It's a very calming oil. Again, it is more going to support your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest aspect that we kind of refer to that as. You can also just take this in your hands. Put a drop of frankincense in your hands, rub your hands together, cup them over your nose and mouth, and that is a great way to inhale through your nose, maybe prior to meditation or to yoga, or just throughout the day when you need to feel calm. You can also use this one on the skin. I love the way that frankincense supports the skin with not only the cellular regeneration, so speaking of sort of like an anti-aging aspect of the skin, but also for different blemishes that you might have that you can apply the frankincense. And this one internally is also going to be helpful for a healthy immune and nervous system function. So not only healthy cell function, but when you take that drop under your tongue in water or in a capsule, immune support, nervous system support, all of that. I should also mention that topically, frankincense is nice for circulation and helping with joint aches and things like that. So if you have discomforts in the body, it's a nice one to add. And I tend to remember when I'm using other essential oils that frankincense is always a nice one to add afterwards as a layering on the top, because it enhances the effect of other oils. And oftentimes it's the one that I'll add last after I've applied other essential oils to help the other essential oils sort of have this synergistic effect with it. Now, emotionally and spiritually, frankincense is known as the oil of truth. So it's known to help reveal deceptions and false truths, invites us to let go of lower vibrations and negativity, and helps us to create new perspectives based on light and truth. We need more of that, don't we? Always. And it supports one who has felt abandoned or forgotten and reminds us that we're loved and protected. It also supports healthy masculinity, and you can use it, as I said, to enhance prayer meditation because it opens spiritual channels in our connection with God or higher power, whatever you think of that as. So really powerful, not just on a physical perspective, but all of the essential oils have that emotional, spiritual aspect as well. And it's so interesting to use them and notice the different changes and the different things that come up for us when we do that. So I hope you enjoy using the frankincense aromatically, topically, internally for all those ways I mentioned. And now we're going to talk about vetiver. Vetiver oil comes from the roots of a grass. Now, unlike other grasses, the root system of vetiver grows down, making it ideal for helping to prevent erosion, and it provides soil stabilization. So it's a very earthy, rooted grass, and that's where the essential oil comes from, is actually the roots. Now, the main chemical constituents of vetiver, one of them is carvone. The other ones are actually sesquiterpenes that are part of the alcohol functional group. So basically, that means that these constituents have grounding properties, and that's what makes vetiver such a great calming oil. Now, the carvone I mentioned, that's also it's a monoterpene versus a sesquiterpene, and that is a member of the ketones functional group. So carvone constituents contain more energizing properties that add to the beneficial chemical properties of vetiver essential oil. Now, energizing, when we think of it this way, I think of it more as a stimulating for our circulation, not necessarily for our whole body or our minds. It's a very grounding, earthy, calming oil, one that's going to be great for insomnia. It's not going to stimulate you, but I think of it as a great oil for circulation and just getting things moving, just like that quality we talked about with Vata in the beginning it's the oil, or it's not the oil, it's the characteristic of motion, just like air, but sometimes that can be sort of erratic. So I think of vetiver as having this sort of steady circulation quality to it, but that's very grounded and calming, if that makes sense. So the roots of the vetiver plant are, again, unique that they grow downward, but they create this really thick tangle of roots in the ground. And it is the roots that have that fragrance that is earthy and strong. And that deep, relaxing oil that's so rich is what provides the sense of security and also mental clarity and promotes strength. From an emotional and spiritual perspective with vetiver, it is an oil that helps us to feel centered and sort of descend. So it helps us to feel more rooted in life. When our energy gets scattered between different priorities, people, or activities, it helps bring us back to deeply connect with what we think and what we feel and not be looking around at everything else. So it can be really supportive for self-awareness work and uncovering the root of certain issues, and also challenging our need to sometimes escape where we are in the present and escape pain. Helps us to find relief in pain without avoidance, grounding us in the present moment and opening the door to connection and grounded presence. So in terms of really practical ways to use vetiver, when you are feeling anxious or stressed, you can use vetiver aromatically or topically. Again, it's rich in those sesquiterpenes, which contain those grounding properties. So when you use it on your skin, it's great to use on your feet for that grounding effect, but you can also just simply smell it out of your hands or put a little dab on the lobe of your ears. That's a nice point for calming if you just massage that gently into your earlobes. I often do that before bed, but you can do that throughout the day as well. And to help your immune system, vetiver oil taken internally can be really helpful. You can put a few drops in a veggie capsule. It's not going to be the best tasting oil, so you might want to take it internally in a capsule. And think of it as well for topical use in terms of on your skin or in the bath, because putting this essential oil in a bath with warm water is going to help with that deep relaxation, and it's counteracting that Vata energy that we were talking about in the beginning for sure. Also, as I said, Vata energy can often get imbalanced even more when we're traveling or things are changing in our environment. So use Vetiver if you are traveling. I like to use it for before bedtime, but even if you're arriving somewhere and you have it handy, you can use the Vetiver on your feet. Even if it's not on the bottoms, just put it like around your ankles or on the tops of your feet, and get barefoot on the earth if you can. That's really helpful when you land somewhere, whether you drove or flew there, whatever it might be. But you can put that Vetiver essential oil on you and get your feet on the earth. It's super grounding, and you can get all of that great effects of earthing. And then, as I said, for sleep, so you can do the same thing, bottoms of the feet or just even on the lower spine, on that lower part of the body. And like I said, I do like to put it around my ears sometimes as well, because that aroma is just so deeply relaxing to me. So it depends what you prefer, and there's not one application that's better than the other. A lot of times people ask me, well, which one's better? Is it better to put it on my ears? Is it better to put it on my neck? Better to put it on my feet? You know, it's a personal preference, and it's a personal experience with what works best for you and what you're most drawn to. So use your intuition a little bit and go with the first application that makes the most sense to you or just feels like the right thing. One last thing I'll say is that Vetiver essential oil can be warming in terms of massage too. So like I said, with frankincense, you can actually put these on your skin and mixed in your body butter or in your oil that you use, whether it's sesame, avocado, coconut, whatever it might be. I really like to use the Vetiver, and it's so interesting because just this past week I've been noticing that I've been reaching for that one more in my body butter. I like to make a body butter base, which I've shared the recipe with you in the past. If you want to look back at the monthly medicine episode, I believe I shared it actually in the November episode in the autumn anchors sheet that I shared with you. But anyway, I have my body butter base, and I like to mix the essential oils based on the season and based on what I'm wanting to experience, what I might be needing at that time. So I've been noticing that I've been reaching for the Vetiver just this past week. It's honestly the last few days. And it didn't even occur to me till I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you for this monthly medicine and thinking about Vata energy and how Vetiver would be so perfect to talk about, that I actually have already been drawn to that and using it. So it just goes to show again and remind all of us that the ones that we're drawn to, the ones that our intuition is guiding us to, like our body is leading the way and nature's drawing us in with these, like once you start to use them, I think it can be something that happens even in the beginning before you're really familiar with the oils. You might just feel drawn to using one and don't know why. But I also think it happens as you get more of a relationship with these plants and the essential oils specifically, that you start to just have this knowing of which one is going to be so helpful. So I have just been taking my body butter in my hand. I'll put a drop of Vetiver, and actually last night I had just the end of my Vetiver essential oil bottle, so I dumped the rest of it. It was probably 10 drops or 15 drops or so. It's a very thick oil, so it's actually a lot easier to take off the little orifice and just dump it if you can. So I did that in my body butter container and just mixed it into that top layer so that I can be getting that over the next little while here, because I know that I want to be using that and have been loving it. So that's just one more practical way you can use it, get it on your body, and just have such a restful sleep and deep grounded feeling in your emotional state and in your body. That's just such a nice feeling for all of us, isn't it? And if you have been feeling a little bit out of balance with what I described with that Vata energy, then frankincense and vetiver might be perfect companions for you. I hope that they do support you in this late autumn, early winter season, or whenever you choose to use them. These are truly gifts of the earth. And I also have a gift for you. You can actually check out my free workshop on creating your own home apothecary with essential oils if you haven't checked that out yet. Or find the link to get doTERRA oils 25% off at jennyholbert.com/oils. If you're already a doTERRA member and you purchase your essential oils at a discount and you're part of our oil community, getting all of those educational resources, you can also get frankincense free in December. of 2020 with a 200-point order. And that's actually available for any of you who want to get started with essential oils. So if you'd like to get a free frankincense in the month of December, you can go to the link in the show notes, or like I said, go to jennyholbert.com/oils and get details on how to get started. You not only get your doTERRA oils 25% off, but in December, you get frankincense for free. It is a $70 wholesale value. It's over $90 retail value. So you're getting such a gift with that freebie from doTERRA with your purchase. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you for listening, my friend. And until next time, go live your one wild life.